Hello and welcome to Crantock Art in the southwest of England in Weston-super-Mare. So one of the things that I've been asked a lot is I woke up one morning, decided to make a planter in the shape of a dachshund, and a lot of people expressed interest to actually see how I made it. Well, it's one of my more complicated makes. I have a template. There's a lot of pieces to it, I'll warn you now. So consequently this template is available on Etsy for £4, and it's 3 pages of pieces. One thing that's worth noting, somebody commented on this earlier and it hadn't really occurred to me that anybody wouldn't do this, but one of the best ways to use my templates is to print them out and then stick them to cardboard and then cut them out, so you've got something a bit more rigid. It's also likely to last longer if you wanted to have a go at making it a second time, otherwise you've got to keep printing it out each time. Then you've also got, of course, all the pieces are all written on there as well, so you know what you're doing. We're going to start off then by actually making the main part of the planter. So I've got a strip here, which is the base. Now in handling it, I suspect that this has got distorted a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, yes it has, I'm just going to line it up with the template again and just straighten it off. That's it there, take that nip off there. I have partly dried this, not very much, but enough so it's not quite so floppy, so that I can build it with a hairdryer. So that's the base. Put that to one side. These are the ends. Again, I suspect the ends have got a little bit distorted. Probably a little bit floppier than I would like as well, but we'll see. So again, I'm just going to go around them. That one's not too bad. Let's just check this one. This one definitely looks distorted. Yeah. Okay. When you get them off the board, sometimes, of course, you twist the clay a little bit. So let's just neaten that up. The one I made as a sort of prototype, my daughter has informed me that she would like, but she wants it neater. So I'm going to do a better job with it, Mum. So let's try again. Right, so now I've got 2 nice neat ends. So put those out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten these ends to the base. Move them up a little bit. And they go actually onto the end. So I'm going to score all the way down the end there. So this is stoneware clay we're using. This is slip, which is just stoneware clay mixed in with some water, and that goes on there. Let's turn it so you can see. As you can see, it will be slightly wider than the base because we're going to have the sides are going to come up on the outside there. So we arrange it so it's even in the middle there, like that. Then we get a bit of clay, make a coil, put the coil into that join there, like so. And using my good old lollipop stick, I'm going to smooth the clay up onto the side, like that, and down onto the base like that, all the way along. And just use the side of the stick. In fact, I'm going to use a slightly bigger lollipop stick just to make it a bit tidier. Now, of course, this isn't going to be seen when it's planted up and full of soil, but it's nice to make sure it's reasonably okay. Let's see if that'll stand up. Yes, it will. Good. So now let's do the same on the other end. Okay, so I'm going to score there, all the way along there. Put some slip on it. And then again, I'm going to arrange this so that it's midway. Equal amount on either end. Like that. Let's turn it around again so you can see what's going on. Ooh, no you don't. No you don't. You stay there. It's a little bit floppier than I would have liked. Okay, so let's fix that on. There. Again. This is one of those things that when all the pieces are together, it will hold itself together nicely, but while you're building it, it's a little bit harder to keep it together. So if you find it's too floppy, try drying it off a little bit more, or find something you can lean it against to hold it in place while you work. I've lost my lollipop stick. There it is. Right. So again, let's work that down onto the base, like that, up onto the side like that. Hopefully you can see this, I'm not sure you can, I think the great fist is in the way, like that. Okay, and then using, again, this stick, I'm just going to smooth that out, tidy it up. Okay, right, got 2 ends on. Next we get the sides. Now again, as before, I've rolled them out ready, but I am again just going to take the side template here, just make sure that it hasn't got distorted. They have a little bit longer than they were when I cut them originally. So let's just nip them off. both ends. Otherwise they're not going to fit. Okay, like that. Now this side piece has to go around the curve. So before I do put it in place though, I'm going to score up the sides here. Yeah, stay there. It's a bit of a balancing act because they're quite soft. And the same on here. Oops, I've gone the wrong way. Sorry, the scoring should be inside the curve, not there. That's it. That's better. Yep, and the same on there. Put some slip up there. Okay, it's the ends of that I should have been scoring, not the ends of the sides. So let's score that again. Okay, and the same there. If that happens, don't panic. That's always the key thing with these things. Stay calm. It's all fine. Okay, so we are now going to take in the best side, which is the side that was on the top. I'm going to butt it up. Okay, right here. You can see. So I'm going to butt it up onto the base. Inside there. Like that. And then it's going to curve round onto there. At this point, got something there to hold it together. So having got those ends in there, despite my best efforts, we're not level, but we'll sort that out in a minute. Oh, hang on, it will be when it's done. So I'm going to fix the bottom part first, so I'm going to put some slip along there. Put in there. I probably should have scored and slipped the two sides together, but because I'm putting slip and a sausage in to hold it all together, we should be fine. Okay. Along. Like that. Okay. Then we get our lollipop stick. Work it all the way. Let's get this so you can see it better. Work it all the way along the bottom. That's coil in place. It's nice and tight. And then all the way along the outside. So at this point I make sure I press it in nice and firmly to the base all the way along. Really good join. Yep, I'm going to have to go left-handed. So all the way up there. And now I haven't got it roughly fixed together, just smooth it in. Okay, now we shall persuade it to stick to the side. So we also say want this to follow the curve that's on the side there. And if you get it right, it should be level at the top. Like that. So now I'm going to put some more slip on there. Just short of the job. Make sure it curves round and comes up level at the top. There. Then we get a sausage of clay, put it into the curve there. Bring this out a bit so you can see a bit better. That's better. Okay, and the same there. Walk away piece. Like that. And then again, I get my Old Faithful, and we go along there, sticking it down again. Making sure that I really support it with my hand at the back so that it keeps its shape as I fix it all together. Okay, let's smooth in that last little bit there. Okay, got there. Then we do the same on the other end. Let's get this way again so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so again I've got to make sure it goes into the curve. If it's gone in correctly, it should be level. Let's get it in. Like that. Right. Then again, paint some slip up that join. Coil of clay. coil into that join. And then again, work it onto first the one end, and then, oops, my sausage is going for a wander here. In there. So, and then let's go left-handed. So put it in there. And making sure you support all the joints. Okay. I'm going to use this one. Slightly bigger lollipop stick. If you're in the UK, you'll recognise this as being a Magnum stick. Other ice creams are available. There we go. So that's one side on. Now for the other side. So I'm going to do exactly the same. First of all, as before, I'm going to check to see whether this has become distorted. So I should now be able to take my cup away. It'll stay put. So let's lay that down. My template, I can see it's definitely distorted because it's not straight at that end. Oh, I'll take it back. It's exactly the right size. Okay. I eat my words. Right, so then, so you see how it's following the curves this side, so now I need to do the same on the other side. So bring it round. And I'm going to, this time I will remember to scratch, so I'm going to score all the way along there. And then score up the inside of the ends. Add some slip. There, up there, up there. And then rest this in. At this point you're probably not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but you'll just have to take my word for it. I'm going to do exactly the same on this side as I did on the other. So get it all butted in. Get some clay. And make some coils to go in there. If we can arrange this so you can just about see what's going on. So coils all the way along. In there. That. You might be thinking at this point, surely it would have been quicker to pre-prepare the coils, but I find that if you do, they dry out, so it's better to work with what you've got at the time, and then you can feel for whether that clay is the right consistency or whether it's got too dry. Don't ever try to roll coils that are too dry. What will happen is you'll just end up rolling air into them, and you won't get anything you can use to stick. It's got to be sticky enough. But you also want to make sure that the coil that you're using to stick things with is about the same level of dryness as what you're sticking. If you use stuff that's too dry, it will crack away. If you use it that's too wet, then the sides will crack away from it. So having fixed the base, now again I'm going to do the same as I did before. I'm going to coax this now to fit the outside of that curve, like that, and the same at the other end. Coax it to fit the curve, like that. And this one's definitely much higher than the other, so I'm going to have to trim that off. But let's get that on like that, and then put a coil up the inside of the curve. Slip, paste it up there, paste it up there. So you can see, let's just get the shape right as well. That's better. Go in there. That's it. Making sure I don't have any holes in it. Well, you want some holes, but just not the holes where it's going to fall apart. Okay, there. Get my stick. Again, fix it in. Reject that, it's too dry. Okay, and another one. Right, again, seal that up. Try not to distort everything while you do this. Like that. Okay, smooth it in. Like that. And then the same on the other end. Now it's drooping out a little bit because it's quite soft, so I'm going to sort that out in just a second. Let's fix all this in. Smooth that in. Okay, so I want this to be a little bit more upright. So what I am going to do is I am going to get my hairdryer. Dry that off a bit. Give itself better. And same on the other side. Too much, just enough just to give it a bit of a incentive to go in the right direction. Okay, now finish off fiddling with the inside, get all those joins nice and set like that. Okay. Now I start fiddling with the outside. So on the outside here I'm just going to go around the joins here, make sure they're nice and tidy. If necessary, add a little bit more clay in. Just make them neat. There, and work that in, hide that join there, smooth that in there, and work it with my thumb a bit just to get a nicer shape. Tidy it up, tidy on the top, so on, all the way around. So I do that on all four sides. Four sides? Yes, that's right, end and two sides, yep, that makes sense. Yeah, so again, slip in there. Up the ends. Okay. And then we have our basic planter. Now at this point, this is where we can start to make it into something else. Somebody suggested we could make a hippo, which you could quite easily. Other breeds of dogs, cats, you can do anything with it really. Okay, so but this one is going to be a dachshund. So the next thing we're going to do is add somewhere to put the head. So I have two pieces of clay here, which have got a curve on them. These two are going to make the neck. So let's pick which end's going to be the front and which end's going to be the back. So we pick the untidiest one to be the front. So we'll go with that end. Again, this is determined not to stay straight. So I should just keep persuading it until it gives up the battle and agrees to do what I want it to do. I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes hair drying it. So I'm going to use this end's going to be the front. So I get my two triangular pieces. The long side goes on there. I think, is that the right way around? It's been a week or so since I've made this, so I'm hoping I've got this right. Right, or is it that way around? Let's have a look, see. So, yeah, sorry, long way around. So there is a long side and a short side to these. The short side's going to go against the, is that right? The short side against the, yeah, the long side at the front, that's it. So these two long sides now, I've got to fix them together. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a coil of clay. Like that. And this is going to be the joining strip between them. So make sure that's long enough to go alongside the longest piece, longest side of the piece rather. Like that. And then we put slip and scrape that long side. And that's going to fit onto there. Like that. And then this one, again, same again, get the long side, score it, stick it to that sausage. So they're going to go together like a right angle. Like that. Okay, and the sausage at the front, and that's going to fill in that gap. Okay, so having got them together in that shape, now I'm going to fix them onto the end of the container. So score all the way down there, score all the way down there, put some slip on it. Now, bear in mind you're trapping air here, so it's a good idea as at the end, just nip the bottom off this so the air can get out from the bottom of the neck. Right, so then that goes in place there, with the ends level with the top, like that. Okay, and this then is going to give you the support to put the head on. If we just tried attaching the head without anything, of course it's just going to drop off. So we get that on like that. We get another sausage of clay, okay, like this, off the table. Okay, and that's going to then go down the outside of the two sides to fix it in place. So it's going to go down there like that, and then we want another one. I always like to start my coils off between my hands. There's no point in making life too hard for yourself. Clay out there. Oop. Just try not headbutting the phone. Okay, that goes in there. Then we get my lollipop stick. And again, we fix it in place. So supporting it so you don't knock the whole thing flying. Work the clay into the main part of the pot. First of all. And then work it up onto what will be the neck. Difficult to do this without messing up so you can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, like that. Okay, smooth that in. And hit that lollipop stick. Now this bit is going to be seen, so it's worth spending a little bit of time just getting this tidy. This bit. Let's get that off. Again. Make sure it's well fixed on. It's a very important piece because it's going to take the weight of the head. So if it's not on properly, you're going to have a problem. Noise you can hear in the background is the wind getting up here. Stormy few days here in the southwest of England. And for a few more by the seams of it. So now let's fix that in on that side. Same again. If I keep losing my stick. But, my daughter says my superpower is my ability to lose things even when I'm sitting still and haven't moved. Okay, that's it. Smooth it there. Smooth it down on the other side. Like that. And then let's just again tidy this up. So this bit's going to be seen, so try to make it as neat as possible. Okay, and we're just going to smooth this coil in at the front now to make the front of the neck a bit tidier. Like that. Same on the other side. Like that. So I've still got a little bit of a gap there at the moment, so we're just going to tidy that in, get as neat as possible. And again, I'm going to wash my fingers because they've got a bit muddy, and you can't get things smooth if your fingers are dirty. I don't want them wet as such, but I do want them clean. So let's just clean them off, and then we can do a nice tidier effect here. Like that. So we've got our basic pot, and we've now got a neck. Now we need to make the head. I'm just checking all my joins are still good. All the way around. I'm just going to push this one out the way for a minute while we work on the head. I'll bring in another board. So let's put that over there for a second. I'll come back to it shortly. So for the head, there are 3 components to the head. In my ill-begotten youth, I used to make a lot of soft toys, which I sold to our local gift shop, not here in Weston, some other part of the world. And so the techniques I've used to make the head here are pretty much what I use to make soft toys. So we have 2 sides of the head, and we have a gusset. This gusset does not go all the way around, I will warn you that now. We will have an opening at the bottom which will fit back into the planter. But let's fix it up. So the straight bit lines up with the straight bit of the nose. So where on the gusset here you see it start to flare out, that goes from the bridge of the nose up. So that's our guidance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up, this head, so that, and this is the little bit tricky stuff, so you've got to line it up so that widening goes where the head starts to widen. So this gusset goes on the inside. So we score it and slip it. There. Then we get our head and we arrange it like that. And it goes over the top of the head and down the back of the neck like that. So make sure you get that nice and level with the head all the way round. Then this lower bit, again, we put some slip on there, score it up a bit. And we have to bring the head up now to meet that gusset, like that. That gives him a nice thin nose, broadening out into the skull, like that. Okay. So that's what we've got at the moment. So now I've got it rolled over onto its back, as it were. I can now seal this, join it up. So I get a piece of clay, again, good old sausage, put it in across the top of his head, bit of slip, get the lollipop stick, let's fix it there, so, like that. Okay, and then we fix it down onto his nose, so another coil. I have just managed to stick my fingernail spectacularly into the side of that, but that's okay, we'll cover that up within here in due course. So let's put that in there. Careful. Right, let's smooth that out. So I've got a little gap there I missed, so let's put a little bit more clay in there. Anyway, there we go. So again, this is not going to be seen once it's finished, so we can get away with a little bit of rough and ready. So now I'm just going to roll him forward onto his nose and fix the back of his head. Again, get some slip on there. Clay into that gap there. Try not to headbutt the phone. Okay, and then smooth that in again, fix the back of his head on. Like that. I wouldn't normally try and do this in an ambidextrous sort of way, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So next, now I'm just going to bring that flap now up to underneath his nose. I say he. Most of the things I make I tend to describe as being he. I don't know why. I always have. Okay, so let's bring that up. So I'm going to try and crease it in there. That comes up and under the nose there. Okay, now I should be able to line down on the side. There we go. His nose is straight. Okay. So you see we're left with this little gap. But that's fine because that will fit into the top of the neck. There is a method to my madness. So let's now put the coil in there, but seal the bottom of his nose. Okay. Well, that's one half of his face done. Okay. But we've still got the other half to do. So we have to shape this a bit. And make sure that it's all going together nice and neat. We've now got to persuade the other side of the face to fit. So again, this time I'm just going to score all round. Down onto the nose, down onto here. Okay, put some slip on it. Like that. And then again, making sure that we line up now the pieces to fit. That should go together like that. And again, we're going to have to manipulate it a bit because it's obviously it spreads out come on, at the top to the bottom. So again, now get in there. Now it's a lot harder now to try and get joining pieces in, but you have to try as best you can. So I might just ease that back a bit. And at this point, it very much comes along to the line of drop a piece in, hope for the best. So what I find helps is to get a piece speared onto your knife, put it in place, and then get your tool and use that to join pieces, because otherwise you won't be able to get it into the right place. Let's do that again. So I make a little coil. I'm going to put some slip on this coil there, and then spear it on my knife, put it in like there. So you can't see this wonderful operation, you have to assume that it is working, and then seal it. Okay, I'm out a little bit with his nose here, so let's just adjust that. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of a join in at the end there. Okay, like that. And join it wherever you can get to, basically, with this. Won't always be quite straightforward. You have to do your best to try. We are going to put a little coil around the outside as well, which of course will help too. I put some slip on that. Get it in there. So this is not the simplest make I've ever demonstrated, but very satisfying. So you should then have this sort of shape, so it will flare out at the top. What I then do is I just get my finger in and I just give him a little bit more of a shape on the side of his head. So with your fingertip, just push it out a bit. So he's got more of a rounded top to his head. And then we get in there and we smooth all this in. Again, keep your fingers clean if necessary. Smooth it all in. Ooh, blooming fingernails, I must cut my nails. Okay. I'm going to round it in now, make it a little tidier. Again, the more time you spend getting this right, the better it'll look. Okay. Let's now do the top of his head. Again, I'm going to smooth that in. You might want to add a little bit of a coil if you've got a bit of a gap. Again, this will help to hold everything together as well. Get that worked in. And there. Up. Stick on it. Nice and smooth. Try and lose some of the the straight edges when you're doing this as well. So I'm just going to curve it in a little bit. Like that. So get rid of all the joins, make them all disappear. Smooth it all in, give him a nicer profile, make him look a bit rounder, not quite so square. All the way around there. Sorry, I'm taking off camera, aren't I? Around there. Again, as I say, take a little bit of time on this and it'll work better. So we have our basic head. Let's sort out the front. Okay. Under the chin there. Right, so now that is now ready, pretty much, to be attached to our top. So let's get our neck back along with the rest of the piece. I'll put that there a minute. Okay, so this now, very carefully, is going to sit on there. Now you see why that piece has a curve to it. That will actually hold it there. Now you might find at this point that this end section is not strong enough to hold it yet, so we might have to find something to put underneath it. We'll come to that in a minute. So now I find my knife and I score all the way along the top of the neck here. Again, I just check that there is a hole at the bottom for the air to escape, so that's good. Nice glob of slip on there. And then the head is going to sit into that curve there. So again, you're obviously only looking at it from one side, so make sure that you check both sides and that's on there properly, like that. Then I'm going to have to support this now while I fix it, because if I let go at the moment, the whole thing's just going to go flop. So I'm going to hold it there. As you see, the curve slightly overhanging the neck. That's good. Makes it look a bit better. So get some clay. We get a coil. Yes, another one. paint some slip under there. Bit of coil under there as well, into that gap there. Find our lollipop stick. Again, and now we fix it by pressing that down onto the neck there and up onto the head there. Okay, tuck it up under there, under his chin. Okay, like that. Right. I'm going to turn it around very carefully so I don't knock the head off or cause it to flop too much, so that I can do the same on the other side. A piece of clay. And we get it up and under there. Yeah, that's quite a big gap, so fill it in nicely. In there, up there. Work it in. A bit too much of a gap there. Let's put a bit more clay in there. Better. Okay. As you can see, this is one of these sort of jobs where you might need about 15 hands to get it to do it. But once you get it on, everything becomes a lot easier. Okay, like that. Okay, now, as I say, we're going to need something to put under there. My cup's too small. What else have we got? What else can I steal from around me here that I can use? If I let go, it's going to fall. I can feel it slumping already. So, that's a bit too high. But if I put it on its side, it might be enough. Let's see. Whatever you use, be aware of the fact you've got to be careful that you don't leave it there too long, because the clay starts to shrink. If the clay can't move because it's got being held up by something, it will crack. Right, so now let's get that nice and straight. So push that in a bit. So the next thing I'm going to add to our dog here is I'm going to give him a nose. So I get some clay and a nice lump of clay. You can make it as big or small as you like. I'm going to give this fella quite a big snoot. So roll it into a ball, then pinch it like that. Give him a nice big flat nose. Okay. That's probably a little bit too big for the poor fella. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to cut that in half. Make it a bit smaller. Okay. Tuck that bit up. Okay. Right. Yeah, that'll do. So I'm going to turn him so you can see what I'm doing. So, quite often you'll find when you put the gusset in, you might have a little bit of a dip here, which is perfect for putting the nose onto. So I've made a sort of little triangular thing, perhaps a little bit star-shaped. Let's score it. Put some slip on it. And put it on. Okay. There we go. Arrange it a bit like a dog's nose. And then smooth it in so it doesn't fall off. So I'm giving this fella quite a big snoot, but the size of the nose is entirely up to you. Like that. Okay, next I'm going to give him his ears. So again, I've cut out the ears already. Here they are. Smooth them down, tidy them up a bit. Hang on from there. You see already he's now starting to look a lot more like a dachshund. As soon as you start to put the ears on, once you've got a nose and ears, it all comes together. Now, I haven't got any eyes on this, and I've done that deliberately. Eyes can be really quite tricky to get right, and you don't necessarily need them on something like this. So I hang that off the curve of the top of the head there, like that. Again, wiggle it, make sure it's on. Then I'm going to add a very small coil of clay around the top, just to keep it in place. It's too big. Make it thinner. Okay, like that. And then, again, using my Old Faithful, just going to smooth that in. Okay, like that. Smooth again. Nice and tidy. And the more time you spend getting this right, firstly, the better it will look, and the less time you'll spend trying to tidy it up later on with files and sandpaper and all the rest of it. Okay, so that's one ear on. What a handsome chap you are. Right, now I'm going to do the other side. Again, I'm going to turn this round, not knocking his head off in the process. So it comes. At this point, I check to make sure that nose is right on this side, which it's not. You can't see that, but believe you me, it's not. Okay, come on this way. Back a bit. Let people see you. There we go. Right, so now I get the ear. Now this ear's got a bit mangled along the way, so I'm just going to smooth it out, tidy it up a bit. I think I managed to put something down on top of it, so it's got a groove in it. So get it a bit neater. Again, it's going to hang off the curve there. So I'm going to score it. That's it. Put some slip on. Like that. That ear on. Again, a little bit of clay around the top. Sway my sides so that they don't want to stick out like that. Again, in. Just do that. Right. Over the top like that. Smooth that in. Oh, I did have a lollipop stick here. I swear it. But I've lost it now. Okay, I'll just use my fingers for a minute. It's got to be here somewhere. Can't have gone far. Note to self, remember to have spare ones next time. Okay, so it's got 2 ears. Next we're going to do his legs. I'm only going to show you how to put them on one side because it gets a bit boring otherwise. But I've cut 2 pieces like this. Okay, so that's the back leg, that's the front leg. With the front leg, the straight side goes against the front of the pot there. Okay, level with the top. Okay, so you've got a little bit of a gap underneath. So what we'll do is, as per usual, scratch all the way along, score it. Nice bit of scoring on there. Nice dollop of slip. Okay, which we then attach then like that. Again, nice wiggle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little coil of clay along the top. Like that. And again, I'm going to work it in. So smooth it down onto one side, smooth it down onto the other. Make a nice join there so you don't see the join. Okay, that's the front leg. Now with the back leg, which looks a bit like a chicken drumstick, you'll find that there's one side which is straight up and then a curve, whereas the other one's a little bit more curved around. It hasn't got a straight side to it. That's the back. So, there's my lollipop stick. So, score again across the top here, across the thigh, blend your slip. Okay, position it again at the back, with the top of the thigh level with the top of the pot like that. Make sure the whole thing is actually on the pot. You don't want any bits sticking out. That's going to cause you problems later on in life when you're using it as a planter. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit of clay across the top just to smooth that in. Right. And then you would repeat that on the other side to give his 2 legs. Then, to give him some feet, get a lump of clay. Nice fat coil this time. Now if you can, I'd roll a coil long enough that you can cut into 4 pieces. And you want each piece to be about 1.5 inches. And then what we do with these is we're going to put them round the bottom of the legs. So we got, as you see, the leg is still hanging free here at this point. Same at the back, it's only joined at the top. We then get our coil and we turn it into a horseshoe shape like that, which then goes round the bottom of the leg like that. Okay. And then again, you now smooth that into the leg. And you can now at this point also smooth the back of this coil onto the body. If you can get at it. Okay. That makes a ball. And then we do the same with the back. If you want to get really arty and creative at this point, you can give him some claws. by just pushing your tool in. So I'm giving some like indentations like that, giving some pads on his paws. We do the same on the back, so we get this, turn it into a horseshoe, put plenty of slip around the end of the leg here, put it round the leg, like that, and if necessary, try and tuck it, if you can, tuck it into the body, so the coil is touching the body, and then smooth it onto the leg, like that. As I say, if you can, smooth it onto the body as well, makes it just a little bit stronger, and he's got some back feet. Then just push that in, just give him some little toes there. Okay, then the last thing we'd need to do, so we do that on both sides, the last thing we need to do is deal with the tail. Now again, I've managed to stick something on my tail, so I'm just going to smooth that out. So what we do with the tail is likely to get knocked off. People have said this before, and yes, it is a little bit of a risky thing, so you'd have to be very careful with it. But what I do with this tail is, this is not the whole tail, we fold it in half, okay, like that, which makes it a bit stronger. And then that is going to be fastened to the inside of the back there. So what I'm actually going to do is, I think this one, I could have it sticking out, could have it up. It's entirely up to you, let's look at this way, how you want to position this. So you could have it sort of like that. You could have it straight up if you wanted to, or you could have it out at an angle. If you want to have it out at an angle, which I do, you just need to cut off the corners like that, so that it can sit there, and then plenty of slip. Will you stay put? Come on back in. Plenty of slip on the bits you're going to join. Put it in position, and then it all comes down to fixing it all in with coils into where you want it. So I've got it balanced like that at the moment. I'm going to get a coil, and I'm going to get a coil around it just to secure it. Okay. So it's got a little sticky up tail, make it a little bit more of a point. And you can see my back's still a little bit soft here, so it is changing shape a little bit. It's distorting a tiny bit, so I'm going to have to just be careful to join that in nice and tight, and if necessary support it. I think I might get away without it. Now again, the end of his tail here is only going to be seen when the pot's empty, so once it's filled, his tail will stick out of the ground, as it were. And there we go. All it needs now is a bit of tidying up around the edges. And obviously I've still got to put the other feet on, but we have our basic, it's going back in shot, sausage dog planter. So I wish you luck with making it. As I say, the template will be available. No, come back here. The template will be available on Etsy for you to be able to get at. You'll find it on our shop, which is Crantoc Art. That's all one word. CARANTOC art, A-R-T, and where you can download it for the price of £4, which helps to support our work, and will give you everything you need in terms of the shapes in order to have a go at making the dachshund. So I wish you all a good day, and catch up again with you soon. Bye.